Hey, it's Melanie Fine from ContentNerds.com, and I help business owners get more clients by writing and proliferating the type of content that builds tribes. And in this episode, I'm going to introduce you to the perfect blog post fill-in-the-blank template and show you where you can download your own copy. But before we begin, if you want my help writing content that your followers find irresistible and brings in leads on autopilot, go over to melaniescalendar.com, fill out a brief form, and we'll hop on a call to see if we're a good fit, and we'll go from there. My son went ice skating this week. This is maybe the third time in his life this Southern California boy has gone ice skating, and he hung on to the perimeter most of the time. He was far from alone. The middle of the rink was mostly empty space, whereas the perimeter was filled with people who needed something to hold on to. He complained about the slower traffic in front of him, and especially about one person whose preoccupation with her cell phone was holding everyone else up. As a seasoned Los Angeles driver, I could relate. As it is with my son in ice skating, it is with me in my writing. Sure, I can slop words on a blank screen like the best of them, but there's always a little bit of hesitation, an anxiety with the process that at times can cause me to procrastinate. I'd much rather hang on to something on the side. For me, that something to hold on to is an article writing template. This template allows me to not only create a fill-in-the-blanks outline, but fill-in-the-blanks content as well. Writing from a template has given the linear thinker in me, I'm a scientist by training, the railing and support from which to let the creative thinker in me flow. By the way, before you dismiss this as formulaic, many artists credit structure for allowing them the framework to do their best work. Without further introduction, let's get right down to it. Here's my template. The template asks, what is your article about? Tell a brief story that illustrates your topic. What points do you plan on making your article? Choose a minimum of 3. If you have trouble coming up with your points, think of the top questions people have about your topic. Rewrite point 1 here. What do you want to say about point 1? Tell a brief story or example that illustrates your point. What do the experts have to say that supports your point? Find support from 1 to 3 online sources for each point. Primary sources and secondary sources, such as the Harvard Business Review, are best. If there is an example that contradicts point number 1, explain what it is and why it doesn't apply here. Rewrite point 2. What do you want to say about point number 2? Tell a brief story or example that illustrates your point. What do the experts have to say that supports your point? Find support from 1 to 3 online sources for each point. Primary sources and secondary sources, such as the Harvard Business Review, are best. If there's an example that contradicts point number 2, explain what it is and why it doesn't apply here. Rewrite point 3. What do you want to say about point number 3? Tell a brief story or example that illustrates your point. What do the experts have to say that supports your point? Find support from 1 to 3 online sources for each point. Primary sources and secondary sources, such as Harvard Business Review, are best. If there's an example that contradicts point number 3, explain what it is and why it doesn't apply here. Conclusion. Tie up the article by going back to telling the original story after the character has learned the lessons in the above 3 or more points. By the way, you can access your own version of this template by going to bit.ly/posttemp. That's bit.ly, bit.ly/posttemp, POSTTEMP. Remember, if you're serious about building your tribe with irresistible content that brings in followers, leads, and clients on autopilot, go over to melaniescalendar.com, fill out the form there, and we'll get on a call to see if we're a good fit and go on from there.